Premier élément d'information nous gagnons, ça fait nous connaître que c'est un groupe monde qui t'a parlé anglais avec espagnol. Yo te gagné gros arme fan fois dans mer qui touye président république là. On fait que ce président un conseil ministre à l'extraordinaire. Côté nous décidé de déclarer état de siège sur tout le pays. M'a demandé population pour garder calme.
TalkBack, hosted by yours truly, Gloria Shea. We're coming to you live from the city of Cleveland. Today is Saturday, July 10th. It's exactly 11 o'clock a.m. right on the dot. Thank you for tuning in to TalkBack today. We have a very, very, very interesting story to share with you today. We're going to talk about the crisis that is going on in the country of Haiti. I'm sure many of you have already heard that during a nighttime attack on July 7th, a group of assassins fatally shot current President Jovenel Moise of Haiti, did also wound his wife, Martini, and in their private residence, the assassination has rocked the nation, sending fear and confusion as to what comes next for Haiti. There are many, many missing details about the assassination thus far, but what we do know is that the assassins charged into the president's Moise's residence sometime after 1 p.m. in what officials describe as a well-planned operation that included foreigners who spoke Spanish. What's obviously wrong with this picture is it's very common for President Moise to have a high level of security and protection around him in his home. There are often at least 100 officers roaming the grounds of the president's residence there. And also Mrs. Moise was wounded. She was injured in the attack as well. And we're going to bring you some updated news on her condition as well. It's also been reported that 2 Americans are among 19 people who have been detained thus far in Haiti. There are two Americans included in that. They are of Haitian descent, we're being told. Both are Florida residents. The other 17 that have been detained, suspects are described as Colombians. Haiti has asked the U.S., as we well know, for help. They want us to send in U.S. troops to help protect the country, key infrastructure, as the nation faced, unfortunately, some unrest. We have a special guest today. And I'm so happy to bring her in and share her knowledge. She does hail from Port-au-Prince, Haiti herself. And she is a community organizer. She's a fighter. She is been standing on the front line for Haiti for many, many years. She has organized activist groups in New York, as well as the Boston, Massachusetts area. So welcome with me, my special guest. She goes by the name of Phoenix. She's coming to us live right from the Boston, Massachusetts area. Are you there, Phoenix?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us today. I know you're a busy young lady, and I am just very, very excited to have you on today and talk about many, many things that have gone on even before this current crisis that's going on in Haiti today. You are from Port-au-Prince, and you were born there, so you know, and you have a passion, of course, your heart's there. So share with us as to, first, let's hear what's going on with the president's wife. What is her current condition?
So, just to be clear, my family is from Port-au-Prince, and as well as Jacmel, La Vallée. 2 different places in Haiti, but just showing love to Port-au-Prince is our city, so everybody's like, it's Port-au-Prince, and I'm like, no, we're 9 hours south, or we're 4
Well,
hours north.
thank you for
It's a really
correcting
big
that.
place. No. It's perfect. It's perfectly fine. As far as the state of the president's wife, I'm gonna say that unknown at the moment, because we've gotten reports that she was brought into Florida and that she was
Correct.
being taken care of. We've also gotten reports that she did not make it. So we're not sure if those reports are due to safety or if they're due to just, adding on to the confusion. But whatever it is, we are hoping that it is on the side that she is okay. We are praying for her, speedy
Exactly.
recovery, but as well as, just until they get the final word. So
Yeah.
I'm just on the edge as everybody else is,
Right. There have been conflicting reports. She was flown into Miami for care, and the last I heard, she was in stable condition. But as you have just said, though, we've got reports very recently, that it's become worse, or even she may have passed. So we'll keep it. If anything comes across my newsfeed, I'll certainly share it with the audience today. Haiti, with this current crisis that's going on in Haiti, give us your take on the assassination of the president, President Moise, and why you think it even came about.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that first part of the question again?
Sure. Give us your take on the assassination of the current president and why you think it even came about.
For me, I feel as though it's a domino effect that led us here. A lot of, we can't depict the future, but I feel as though there was a lot of different things that could have been done to prevent us from getting here. One of those being the need for him to step down after his term was completed. And then another thing is that after vast amount of years of corruption, vast amount of years of, zero communication, zero accountability, allowing people to think that this can happen, without anybody backing up or whatever, that this is even an option to occur, and so I feel as though there's the point that's like, nobody should be killed, nobody should be murdered, nobody should be assassinated. And then there's also this piece of just like, how are we getting here, period, where we feel like there is the only way that this president is coming down is through vicious acts, or as well as for a president to be able to for the people to be able to, denounce what's going on and not get that support whatsoever. So I feel like all of that bottles up and gives that basketball for folks to just just disencount everything that we've worked hard for. And, whether we're working hard to ask him to step down through actually bringing up actual clear facts, or whether it's government wanting them to step down for their own personal gain.
Were there elections held, special elections to allow him to become the current president? Was he a popular president there in Haiti?
He was not a popular president. Less than a year after he became president, a lot of people were already kind of like starting the marches and the protesting against him. He's not necessarily a people. He's not necessarily a people president. He was kind of placed there after an election that had I would say over 90 people were trying to run for president at that time too. But there was a domino effect with Michel Matali being placed, and then him being kind of like, being groomed to get into this position after Michel Matali left.
I see. So he actually wasn't a very popular president. Was it his policies that made the general population there uneasy?
Similar to other various presidents, it's more so of you telling one story before you get into office, then you get into office and you switch your tune. And so with that, that left a bad taste in a lot of the folks' mouths already around how things were being executed. You know, he came in around a time where the gas prices were already high and getting higher, and there doesn't seem any resources or assistance in sight. And so him coming in, it was kind of like, okay, well, let's see what he's gonna do. And it made a lot of people on the ground and home here just feel like, oh, you're not really doing your job.
Did he have the support of his own government?
So in a way, yes, he did. Because he, in his control, he was there, he was out there. He decided, even when he decided not to leave office, they still supported him. They still gave him the security that he needed to carry out a lot of the things that he was doing, like disrupting a lot of, you know, the status quo that was happening around the Constitution. There's so many different things that he was started to attack that it was just like, if in order for you to do this without any backup is crazy. But these people are letting you know that they got your back, so you're gonna keep doing it.
So the government backed him in his policies, but the people was not having it, pretty much is
Right.
what you're saying.
Exactly.
And so they start, were there a lot of protests that have been held recently in Haiti?
Yes, there were a lot of protests. And as I spoke before on the other show as well too, a lot of people, you know, before July 7th, they weren't really thinking about Haiti. And there was a few protests that happened a few months ago. And in fact, it's in those protests in which it was sanctioned for people to for the police to like shut down these protests. People were getting killed, people were getting shot at by the government, who were like saying, no, you guys are the opposition. You cannot have this protest.
So I see. We haven't gotten much news about it here in the United States, unfortunately, until the recent assassination of the president. Unfortunately, it just hasn't been a big topic here in the United States. And I'm sure a lot of our viewers are just amazed and shocked. And I'm sure some are even angered that this continues in the country of Haiti. It has a long history. Haiti, unfortunately, has a long history of presidents who have sworn and taken office there to protect and help the country grow. And once they get in, as you said, you hinted on earlier, once they take office and they get in there, if they do a 360 turn. The people are totally left out of any economic development, any structural development, things of that nature. And sooner or later, the same thing happens, protests. Goes back to even former president in the 70s, Jean-Claude Duval, who was president. I don't know if you know the history there of him. I'm sure you do. Who was president, and he was nicknamed Baby Doc. A lot of my viewers, I'm sure, remember him. And he was ran out of Haiti. It was nothing but mayhem and chaos under his administration. So there's a long history there. Help us. And you're how old are you, if you don't mind sharing that information? Or you're a young lady. You don't remember, or you didn't live during that time, correct?
No.
Right.
I am young. Not too young, but I am young. I'm currently 30 years old, and yeah, I grew up with my parents telling me so much about Papa Doc, around Baby Doc, and then also learning myself. I grew up around the era of Ice-T being over there. I grew up I tell people I grew up in the era where I remember sitting in freshman year of high school and reading the newspaper of like over 200 something Haitians jumped off of a truck in the middle of like Miami type stuff, just trying to find refuge. And so I feel as though a lot of people, they've gotten Haiti on one-sided. That's not no surprise. We speak about this all the time, about how Haiti being one of the first national like Black places in which people free themselves. We've been paying the price ever since. This is not the first time that a president has been assassinated. It happened before in 1915. It happened before, and they made sure that we were, under US for like a decade or so, after that as well. We don't want things like that. We've been here before, and we understand that like more than ever. Like it's so tough, but we understand that it has to be Haitian people, and as much as it's kind of like a pull and tug right now, because there are some who still don't understand what's going on and they still side with whomever has big pockets. We're still not going to give up, from either being within the United States or being over there. We're continuously working with these groups on the grounds, or just individuals on the grounds, to make sure that the information is being, passed around, make sure it's being placed out there and exposed the way that it needs to be. And again, like, we don't get the information, we don't get to see things here, but America puts its nose all up in to Haiti, and it's just interesting to see how certain things go. Like, it's interesting, Biden made a statement stating, we're gonna stand by, and if Haiti needs us, we will be there. I don't know how to take that. I don't know if we should take that as a positive or if we should take that as a negative. Because as soon as this man got into office, the first thing Biden did was deport Haitians. The first thing, not the second, but the first. More Haitians have been deported back to Haiti under Biden than under Trump. Like, so it's like when we're talking about these things, it's not just, oh yeah, it's just a little issue here and there. No, this has been a continuous issue. And you guys hope that nobody sees it. It's like a bad stench that you put perfume on, and you just keep spraying perfume thinking nobody's gonna see it, and they're smelling it. They know something's wrong. They know it's not okay. So, it's just, we've seen it during COVID-19. We've seen it, like, with the little things around that. It's like, okay, well, thank goodness they were able to treat themselves, because there was no assistance. There was no support, so.
Let's stay there, Phoenix, for a moment, because the history of the relationship between Haiti and the United States it's been reported one way here by the media here in the States, but it's actually seen a totally different way in the country of Haiti. Correct, totally different way. Let's talk about that. Prior administrations, even going back to the Bush administration, even prior to Bush, the Clinton administration, or even the first Bush administration, the idea or the message given to the Americans here was that we were going over to help. We've always been a friend of the Haitians. And then the actual events that take place there, and what comes to mind is under the Clinton administration, of course, we had sent, and I believe Hillary Clinton, I'd like you to expand on that a bit, but there were certain organizations set up over there by the United States, supposedly to help build the infrastructure there. Totally reported one way here. And as far as the Haitians were concerned, it did not benefit them at all.
Mhm.
Talk a bit about the past history, specifically of the United States with Haitians, and the promises we've made but have not kept.
Oh yeah, a few of those talk about has a hand in it, like Hillary herself actually has a lot of direct hand in the creation of today's political situation in Haiti. Her herself, from being the representative at the table, to placing her brother in charge, to handpicking Moise's predecessor, the unpopular Michelle Matali, as president. And it shows that they have more of a molding in this corrupt system than we think. Um, it's not as if Haiti officials are gonna go and help mold who's gonna be the next president of America. So it's just like, to watch that happen to Haiti time and time and time and again, that brings us to a place of like feeling like there's no hope. Um, During these last elections, the last protests that have been happening, some of the hashtags that were placed in Haiti like in the marches, in social media, was about like, wanting the UN out, wanting America off, hands off of Haiti. And people never zoom in on that. They never zoom in on those things. And it's been such a time where Haiti has taken advantage of the resources that are there, the to wash out the history that is there, to make it seem like it's very dependent on the US, only for it to just leave the people out to dry, whether it's taking money for the Caribe, the Petro Caribe project, and just like, promising the people land, promising the people buildings, promising the people XYZ stores and whatnot, and them getting absolutely zero, nothing, nada, to the same thing occurring around the earthquake,
Correct.
and there needing to be resources. And we're hearing about all these big entities who are coming in there to help. And when you ask the people, there's no assistance. When you actually pay attention, there's more stories coming out about how people abuse their power, how there was, a lot of young women, a lot of young men who've been attacked, who've been pushed to doing things that they, didn't want to do, but they had to do it because of their resources, because they needed it. So I feel like Haiti has done I feel like the U.S. has done a little bit more harm than good in Haiti, and there's no real meeting ground around like check and balance about what's going on, who's doing what. And when people just come there, like, who's there to say, hey, this is not okay, this needs to be done, or you guys need to be overseen.
Yeah, yeah, that certainly is a story that occurred here after the earthquake there, the major earthquake that you guys had there in Haiti. And the Clinton Foundation, I believe, came in and offered a hand. But it's been reported that they actually walked out of Haiti with more than they brought in. So it's amazing to me how that can happen. Does that mean then that there is a concerted effort on the part of the officials in Haiti to work behind the scenes and underhandedly with the United States? There has to be some sort of concerted effort on behalf of the officials there. No?
Yeah, well, we talk about the officials, but then we really need to talk about the rich families that are over there, because those are the ones that are really benefiting from half the things that are happening. Those are the ones who really have their hands molded into what's going on with the government officials. I say government officials because it's more so like, okay, who has the money, who's paying off XYZ, everything from the gangs that pop up to, paying off whomever to get into office. Like, so I feel like I can't, I'm not gonna just take accountability like, oh yeah, it's only the US, but I will say that the US definitely plays a hand in manipulating the different people who come in, to have them believe that they can go on to the left, and that folks, and when they talk about the US, they're talking about both Democratic and the Republican parties. We're talking about both parties who claim to have Haiti's back, but they do not.
Yes, yes. And you talk about the resources of Haiti. Tell us a bit, inform the viewers out there who are watching the resources. You had mentioned, because you've appeared on other shows in the Boston area about this Haiti crisis and your passion for the people there. And also, we're going to have you share some contact information for anyone who'd like to contact you at the end of the show, maybe offer some sort of contribution to your cause there. There's millions of eyes right now on Haiti with what has happened with this current assassination of the current president. We don't know what's coming next, but talk a bit about the resources. You had mentioned on another show, and it touched me, about the fruit of the land. Expand a little bit before we take a break about what you mean by that, the fruit of the land.
Yeah, so Haiti is a very delicate fruit. It is such a delicate fruit, and you can take it in, and it'll give you all the energy that you need in so many different parts, and it needs to be protected, right? And just like any other fruit, you got to take care of it. You can't just have it in the sun. You can't just have it out. In the same breath, there are those who take that fruit and they poison it. They make it so that anybody else who sinks their teeth in it they taste something different. They taste the bitterness, you know? And I say Haiti's such a delicate fruit because with time, understanding, investment, people are able to remember the original story. They're able to remember and understand that this is the beginning of the story. And if we do not be careful, we will lose the pages within our story. We will lose, you know, the rest of the fruits. We, you know, this is supposed to be producing more fruits, and we're not able to get any of those fruits. The fruits of knowledge, the fruits of taste, the fruits of culture. When it comes to Haiti, a lot more people don't speak about Haiti unless it is something crazy happening over there, which saddens me because it means that we're missing a piece of our history, you know, continuously. It means that we're losing on so much more.
Yeah, I feel you. And you certainly demonstrate a lot of passion. I was just informed by my producer that we actually passed our break. Your story has been so interesting, and I get enthralled in it. So we passed the break, unfortunately. But yeah, this is, like I said, there's a million of eyes right now on the continent of Haiti. Lots of people are looking and watching and wondering what's next for the country of Haiti. We all know there's a problem. We know there's a long history of problems there in Haiti. What would be some of the solutions you, um, as a millennial, what would you say would actually help Haiti become a better country for its own people?
Well, there's a lot of different silo groups that come out of the churches and the schools and the government. And it's time that we refocus on the actual people who are on the ground, who've been doing the work continuously, unbiasedly, and being able to bring those different accountability measures to play, not just you know, think about them, but how we actually putting them forth. There's leadership around the world that has come together from Miami, New York, Boston, you know, and have been present in Haiti. There are those who are not corrupt, who continuously put their lives on the line, who've been doing the work. And again, sadly, this would be the time where I would say a lot of the names of these groups and these individuals. There's at least 7 of them that I know of who are actively doing amazing work, but unfortunately, they are not to be said out loud. They're not to be said. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of just to let people know there are still people who are working really, really hard to fix and change Haiti, and to never stop speaking. You know, to stand on your podium, stand on your soapbox, and you say what you need to say, because whatever happens to us, there are more people who are coming forward, and we need them to
Awesome.
understand that we're all seeds and that we're trees in this, and that we're going to keep going with our domino effect.
Awesome. Is there some phone number or email address or anything you'd like to leave with the viewers today that they could contact you?
Yes, they can feel free to contact me. And my email is the letter C, Printemps, PRINTEMPS, the number 3 at gmail.com.
You might want to repeat that just one more time.
Again, the email is C, PRINTEMPS, the number 3 at gmail.com.
Thank you so much. Well, that's going to kind of end it. I certainly want to thank you, Phoenix, for coming on, spending some time with us today. It was, I totally forgot about the break. So that's just how in tune I was into you. Thanks for coming on. Keep up the
Thank
fight.
you so much for having me.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. The pleasure was all mine. I'm certain that the viewers and listeners got a lot out of you appearing with us today here on TalkBack. So we're going to close out this show today on TalkBack. I would like to ask each and every viewer, be sure go to our YouTube channel, TalkBack with Gloria. This is a live show, and we want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be sure and go to our Facebook page, TalkBack, a thought-provoking talk format. Like our page, leave us a review. Stay with us. We've enjoyed having you with us today, and we'll be back on 2 weeks from this Saturday. Until next time, America. That's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Be sure and go to our Facebook page, TalkBack, a thought-provoking talk format. That's TalkBack, a thought-provoking talk format. Leave us a review. Let us know what you think of TalkBack. It can only make us better. Be sure to check us out on Spotify, also Twitter, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, wherever podcasts are heard. Be sure, check us out on YouTube. Again, thank you for listening. Until next time, America.
You have been listening to Talk Back with my grandma on Spotify. Be sure and catch her every weekend. Oh, and by the way, my name is Kari. Bye.